Pax Day, Payday, Pax Dead, whatever you want to call it, Pax Day is coming June 18th. It will indeed be the early access version of the game though. Let's talk about what they've announced today, and let's talk about why I think it's not a great idea. So yeah, the Pax Day early access is going to be the 18th of June, and you can buy in right now for the low price of €40 for the Journeyman edition. And then there's some extra editions. One of them is $60 pretty much, and the Master Edition is $100. And with this, they've shown off a new trailer. Well, it's actually not really a new trailer. It's more like a dev video where they talk about why they're doing this with some footage, etc. Now, for some of you, this might be sensational news. Maybe you're very much looking forward to this game. And for others, and probably I would include myself here, this is perhaps more of a little bit of a disappointment. I don't want to be too harsh necessarily, but having played the Alpha 1, I did have to not play the Alpha 2, but I've looked at all the videos and watched some streams. I was actually on holiday, and do you know what? I shouldn't have been on holiday because I booked my holiday when they said Alpha 2 would come, but then they delayed it. So, you know, that's their fault, not mine. I was trying to play it. I think there's a lot of people who think that the game simply is not ready for early access. And that's a little bit weird, right? Because what is early access if not the testing grounds for games? But the game was pretty much bare bones. The crafting and gathering was what we saw originally, but with some tweaks. In fact, I think it was actually a little bit grindier in Alpha 2. The combat was improved for sure, but wasn't exactly sensational. And the PvP was a little bit janky as well, partly because you could see other people on the map. Now, some of those issues are getting fixed, like you're not going to be able to see other people on the map who aren't in your party, and actually the crafting is being improved. I think they've shown a screenshot where maybe you're actually able to find your storage a lot easier and that kind of stuff, right? The game is getting improved. I don't want to sit here and say that there's not improvements being made. There are, but I don't think it was ready. It's just not good enough, basically, I think, for early access, in my opinion. And then on top of that, we actually have the monetization. Now, I alluded to this earlier on. There are 3 different versions of the game, which, if I'm honest, is perhaps a little bit weird for early access. And some people are saying that some of this is pay to win. Now, we know there's a pay to win argument about when it comes out because they're considering like an optional sub and all that kind of jazz. But even here at the start, you could argue that there is a little bit of pay to win. So let's talk about why. There's a couple of extra recipes which I think are purely cosmetic, so we can gloss over those. The main difference between the 3 editions, apart from the price, is the fact that you get different numbers of plots. Now, plots are where you can build. So in the Journeyman edition, which is the €40 version, you only get 1 plot. But if you pay €20 more, you get 2 plots. And then if you pay $100, you get 4 plots. And that's what people are going to claim is pay to win. Now, actually, to defend them a little bit here, I'm not sure that really strictly fits the definition of pay to win, because acquiring plots isn't necessarily the goal. What is the goal of a sandbox after all? To get stronger, to have fun, to build your own stories? I'm not really sure that plots increase the potential of winning necessarily. However, that might not be the case. If one plot didn't have enough space for you to put everything you wanted, then that would be a problem. But this game is mostly going to be a group guild-based game. And if there's like 30 of you, then you have 30 plots and you're all working together, then that space won't really matter at all. So that one, you know, it's going to be dubious. I personally don't think it's like that bad because it's not really winning, but it is definitely a questionable thing to put in this early access mode, basically. Having founders packs for early access, I don't know if other games have done it, but I don't really like it. In the different versions though, you also get some extra character slots, and as far as I can work out, there's no real point to having character slots because there aren't any classes. Maybe there are, but you get 2 in the Journeyman, 4 in the Artisan version, and then 6 in the Master version. Now, with those 2 things being the way that they are, my personal recommendation to you is to not pre-order. I would wait until you see people review this game. Do you know what? Even I'm tempted not to buy in. Whilst I was initially excited, the reality is, do I want to be spending €40 to play a game that, if I'm honest, probably isn't to my taste, and I'm very much aware of that. Sandbox games aren't necessarily to my taste, but that doesn't mean I can't have some fun at the start and then just quietly leave and, you know, slink away. But I'm definitely questioning it. And if I was a normal player and not a content creator, there wouldn't be any doubt in my mind. I would quite frankly just wait until I'd seen other people play it and see what had actually changed. Many people don't believe in pre-ordering, and I think in this case it definitely stands to reason to not pre-order. I would wait and see. And I did sort of mention it earlier, But early access to me has sort of been corrupted a little bit. If anything, I think Pax Dei is doing what we thought early access would do. It's an unfinished game where they want feedback, they want you to play it, and they want to design it with you. And maybe it's possible that our concept of early access has sort of changed. Like this year we had Pal World and Enshrouded and all these other kind of games have entered early access, and they've been pretty polished and pretty like filled out, and Pax Dei doesn't appear that it's going to be that. But my argument would be that actually early access probably should be what Pax Dei is doing. It should be the testing ground. And that's what the developers say. They say we want people to come in, we want the feedback, and we want to go from there. However, I'm then not 100% set on the pricing. For what this game is, those prices seem a little bit high to me. The game effectively is this, right? You can craft and build, and that's split into like a cosmetic housing, if you like, and then actual functioning products, which are either your armors and the stuff that you need to craft your armor. Then there is combat in dungeons and PvE and PvP. And then that's pretty much it, to be honest. It's a sandbox, right? There's not supposed to be that much content. They talk about in the future how they're going to have marketplaces. Well, yeah, the game's not ready, right? It's not ready for release. That's why it's in early access. But I personally don't believe that that pricing is going to make sense for a lot of people. I think it's going to put a lot of people off. It's hard to talk about value when we've not played the product. That's what a review will be for when the game actually comes out in early access. People play it, people will review it. Then we should make judgment on value. My instinct reaction, though, is that $100 option for an early access game sounds crazy, is crazy. I don't know if there's any defending that, but maybe there is. It might be that they simply need the money to continue the developing of the game. I sort of wonder why you wouldn't initially do crowdfunding and do the same kind of like open development Ashes of Creation is doing. A lot of people are enjoying that. Some people don't like that. By the way, you can come and watch all the Ashes of Creation stuff on my YouTube channel. There'll be a link in the description. That is purely Ashes of Creation if you want that, by the way. But they could have gone the route of crowdfunding and people wouldn't have been so bothered because you would have had the people who were paying in to be the testers. You could have probably kept it all NDA or, you know, had the open development. It wouldn't really have mattered. But this just feels, I don't know, a little bit weird. Having said what I just said, I don't really like the idea of early access games for MMO. I feel like it's going to spoil the magic a little bit. Some people are going to be absolute experts, and then the people who wait for release are going to be confused and noobs and beginners and all that kind of stuff. It'll be very solved. However, you don't typically solve a sandbox game, so I'm not really sure that matters for this game, but it might do for Ashes of Creation. If it's true what the developers actually said though, that they want feedback and they want the place to do it, they probably could have done some open alpha testing and some open betas as well. Let's be honest, all of the tests that they did were closed and they invited people. And sure, they invited a lot of people, but you know how you get even more people? Is to just have it completely open. Give us a weekend, give us a week, test like that, and then eventually release the game. I'm not sure that the goal here is to get money to help the funding of the game, but it sort of looks like that, and I think many people are going to think like that. Pax Dei, I think, is going to be a little bit of a disappointment for quite a few players, but for many players, I think they will enjoy it. Unfortunately, that's going to be a smaller number of players now because your progress is probably at risk of getting wiped. They said that on their FAQ in the Discord. I've actually seen that. You will probably have your progress wiped. You are effectively the testers for the game, but you're paying €40. The only thing crazier than that is paying €250 for like an Alpha 2 or something. And you wouldn't catch me doing that, I don't think. Oh no, you would. I'm highlighting that I'm very much aware that there is a comparison here to be made between Ashes of Creation and Pax Dei and how they're being funded. However, I think that Pax Dei is not as fully developed as, say, Ashes of Creation. It's not been in development as long, and I think that very quite clearly shows when you look at the two. If I'm wrong, well, we'll see on the 18th of June. For me, I don't even know if I'm going to buy it. I'm going to have to wait and see. I don't know. It's not really my kind of game. As I said, I like more theme park kinds of games, and the price point's a little bit high, and it didn't even look that amazing in the alpha test that I played. So I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I'll look at some reviews when it comes out and then consider it. Maybe I'll just play Tarisland because I'm sure that's going to be amazing, right, on the 21st. That'll be great. I'm sure, I'm confident. Definitely, there's no doubt in my mind, actually. Love me some mobile games. For now, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to come and talk to me about this or anything, then come and follow me over on Twitch. Big shout out to my Patreons. I do really appreciate you guys. If you want to support me, then the link to my Patreon will be in the description as well. For now, have a most beautiful day. I think this comment section is going to get spicy, but I would ask, just try and be nice and polite. That's all we need in the world. But you can say what you like, good or bad. Am I wrong? Am I right? Let me know. For now, have a most beautiful, beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.